Good morning, everyone, and happy Saturday to you. This is Sandi, Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona, and today we are making ponchos. We're going to make this little poncho. Has a little pocket, a little bling there, because I had done a short, and several people had asked if I would do a video on how I make them. Now I'll show you the pattern that I use to cut it out. I don't do exactly what they say to do, but it is a fun, easy, quick poncho that you can make for yourself, family members, kids, grandkids. I use fleece. You could use different kinds of material, but I like fleece because it doesn't unravel. Have you ever made a fleece blanket and you can cut those little things on the sides? It never unravels. So it can make it a little quicker because of that quality. And I just loved this crazy pattern. I actually made one of my granddaughters one like this, so I had some extra material. It is fast, easy. Do a favor for me first, before you even watch the video. Will you make sure that you like the video? Give me a thumbs up. And I don't know what's flying behind my window there. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe so you know whenever I have a video. Because as a homesteader, I do a lot of different things, from gardening to cooking. I just started a series last week that's called Baking Therapy. So look for episode 2 next week. But let's make a fun poncho. This is the pattern that I use to cut out the material. And it comes with an adult, 2 adults. You can do it for a teenager. You could do it for a small child. So that's what I'm doing today, is this one for a little girl. And so I laid it out. I put my cutting boards on our spare bed just because it gives me the most room and it's the easiest access to it. And I just lay the pattern out and pin it, of course, so that it doesn't move when I'm cutting it. And then I will cut the whole thing out before and get ready to sew. Some things you can pin as you go. For the most part, when I'm making these ponchos, honestly, I rarely pin except for when I hook the hood onto the neck. But some parts I'll pin today just so you can see that, and some parts I won't. So it's totally up to you guys on what you do. Probably the more experience you have with sewing, the less pins that you use all the time anyway. A thing to have when you're sewing is a good pair of scissors. I mean, seriously, you need a good pair of scissors. It may cost you, but they will last you. Like Joe is leery when he comes into my art room and he goes, "Can I cut paper with these scissors?" So there's all my pieces cut out. And you can see that I'm using the small child size. And it is a fun pattern. So we are gonna cut it, sew everything up. Now this was a little part where you cut around the neck, and I thought to myself, why not have a pocket on a pocket? So I am just gonna take it at my sewing machine. I did pin that down so it wouldn't move, so it stayed exactly where I wanted it. And I'm using a zigzag stitch. I'm using purple thread. You could use whatever thread that matched the material that you're using. And just take your time. If you're going around curves, circles, take your time. And the nice thing about this fleece, it doesn't unravel. So I didn't have to make a regular pocket. I could just fold it over, zigzag it down, and it makes a little pocket. And I thought, kids have things they like to put in their pockets. So let's just add another pocket on top of this pocket. I do a back stitch, and then I'll unpin it, and that little tiny pocket is ready. Now, I like to do the sides of this pocket first before I attach it to the actual poncho. So I'm going to first trim all the threads that I can find. I have a bag that's taped onto my table of my sewing machine, by my sewing machine, and I throw all the threads in there because I sometimes do projects and I like thread to add into it. but I do like that little pocket. So let's flip that side over. Now you could pin this, right? There's nothing wrong with you pinning that. We're still using our zigzag stitch. I still have the purple thread, and I am just gonna zigzag it. I am not gonna go back and forth on the ends because those will get either zigzagged over or folded over and then hooked down. So I don't have to do it. So what I'm doing are actually the sides of the pockets, okay? The part where you would slide your hand into. That's what you're actually seeing me sew right now. Now, when I get down to this end, because I folded it over and it's cut on a slant, it's going to have like a little triangle that's overlapping. You can leave that, but honestly, I'm just going to grab my scissors and I'm just going to nip that off. Pull my string a little bit, my thread, and then I'm going to nip those threads too, and I'll do the other side also. And then I have my beginnings of my pocket in a pocket. Now the next thing I have to do is the hood, and I'm going to do the seam that goes from the back over the top of your head. This also is just a zigzag stitch. I pinned it. Honestly, I usually don't pin them, but I pinned it just because it's the video, right? And then I'm going to turn it right side out, and I'm just going to take my fingers along it and smooth it out so it's very rounded. So it looks like a hood. It's really easy to do. Where they came together, because they were on a curve, it kind of makes a point out there. I'm going to nip that off too. Now, because I am going to fold that over and zigzag that, so the opening of the hoodie is what I'm doing now. I'm just folding it over. You can see where that seam was. I'm folding it over and I'm just going to sew that. Honestly, pin it if you want to. We're going to go over where we just nipped that little corner off. And it's just so simple. This poncho is so simple. And the next thing, oh, there's the zigzag of it. And the next thing I have to do is all the edges of the main poncho. And so I just start folding it over. I try to make the corners exactly the same on every single one, so that if it's folded one way on one corner, it's folded that way when I get to the next corner. It just makes it easier for me. And so now I'm pinning my pocket onto my pocket. The thing I want to make sure that I'm doing is the top edge I folded over so that it's very straight and very smooth. I'm lining the little pocket up with the hole for the neck. The bottom I just hooked onto the edge of the poncho. I did not fold that over. So here's the hoodie. I want to find that back center seam, the center of the hole, the neck hole, and then I'm going to start pinning. I like to use very long pins. Everybody has their favorite kind of pin. I really like these long ones with the yellow little ball on the end. And I just start with one side and I go around. It's real easy. The fabric is stretchable, so it's easy to move it around. And then I'm going to do the other side. When I go to do the other side, sometimes it's easier if you kind of crunch the material up. And the idea is to match one side with the other side. So first I'm going to zigzag, purple thread still, the pocket onto the poncho. And remember, I pinned that, and so it's not going to go anywhere. I will backstitch on that, and then I'm just going to try to make the zigzag go right to the very edge of the pocket. That's my goal to do. Take your time. If you have a steady stream, it just works so much better. If you're going slower and faster, your zigzags can be uneven. And then see at that bottom, I didn't turn that over. I'm going to just zigzag along that very bottom. Take all the pins out. Cut any threads that I might have. Pull any threads tight if I need to. Sometimes when you do that at the beginnings or the ends, you just pull those strings taut and then you just clip them off. Now I have changed. It is not zigzag. I turned it inside out. I'm doing the neck and the hood onto it. And I have a lot of pins in there. It can be very bulky. And I'm starting at that very back seam. I'm taking my time. I'm making sure that none of the fabric gets twisted up underneath of it. And I'm actually going to go around once. I'm going to take all the pins out, and then I'm going to go around again so that it's really sturdy at that neck part, that it's really not going to go anywhere when kids are pulling on their hood over and over again. So here we are. I'm going to do that second row of stitching. I just go a little bit closer to the edge. I just want it to be real secure. The fabric is stretchy, and so it will be perfect. Now I'm sewing on to that little pocket. I had this little flower. I just thought it'd make it a little kind of cute. Do make sure that you have your hand inside the pocket so that you're not sewing through both layers. And here is my little poncho. I think it's so cute. And actually, I decided I was going to send it to a great granddaughter. And she's 2. It's a little bit big for her, but I think Sawyer will like it. And here it is hanging up. What could be cuter? Pockets inside pockets. An easy poncho that anybody can make. Well, what do you think? Can you make one? I think you can. My videos, I try to, for the most part, be educational. I want you to see that you can do this too. If me, as an old woman, can do it, you certainly can do it. And won't your grandkids or your kids just love these fun little ponchos? You can use them for camping when it's cool in the evening during the summertime. But I also told all my grandkids, when that snow is flying and you want to watch a TV, you don't have to have a blanket. Just put your poncho on and cuddle up inside there. I will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching the video.